Build diary update. So since last time, I defeated the Black Star. As you can see, that was a much easier fight than the Infinite Hunger for several reasons that we'll go into in a moment. Reached level 90, yay! And probably don't need much more levels until I get to tier 16, or I probably don't need the level, just we're at the point where I need gear more than levels. Uh, Currently cleaning up the maps before tier 12, and and then going to just do tier 12 maps onwards. So some side notes that I never mentioned. Bandits. I killed a Lyra instead of doing the kill all. Once I get my resistances up, I'll probably I'll do the Orb of Regret recipe thing and do kill all to swap bandits, because Lyra gave me all relevant stats. The mana regen's nice, the crit chance is nice, the all res is nice. We need all of those, so yay. Or is it crit multi? It doesn't matter. Both are nice. Some things I learned about Locust Mine. First off, arrow thresholds. 2 arrows doesn't make a difference, 4 arrows doesn't make a difference, 1, 3, 5, 6, 8 are, and 7 arrows doesn't make a difference then. So you want so because of the 30% projectile penalty on Locust Mine, you want either 1, 3, 5, 6, or 8 arrows. Preferably the odd arrow counts you get, which is from the first arrow, 5 arrows, and 8 arrows, are better than even arrow counters, but even arrow counters aren't total brick build like an explosive arrow can be. You just need to swap out returning projectiles with barrage on bosses to single target them better. So let's talk about ascendancies. I swapped my ascendancies around a little bit. I got rid of, for a little bit at least, instead of Endless Munitions, I went to Far Shot for the Black Star, and that was way better, because Endless Munitions gives only 3, jumps my arrows to 3, which is only, which is an even number of projectiles, makes it hard to hit bosses. So yeah, Far Shot over Endless Munitions for a single target, definitely. Then I got my Azaro Ascendancy, which was great. I did die to Eternal Lab, but not to Azaro, just to one of the Sawblade traps, I think. Because, and I'm still frustrated about it, because playing Frogger with point-and-click controls irritates me to no end, even after all these years. I still do not like, on principle, the Labyrinth, because I do not like navigating those hazards with point-and-click controls. Give me WASD win by grinding gear. Oh well. Anyways, so Ascendancies, Gathering Wind's still the same, and so I decided to forego Focal Point for Endless Munitions and Far Shot. I probably could do Focal Point instead of Munitions, but I like the extra proj. This is good for clear, and it does well with Far Shot, honestly. Actually, come to think of it, I probably, damn it, should unspec here and go this way for the accuracy rating, but whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make that huge a difference. Accuracy's nice, though. Either way, this lets me switch to Barrage, and Far Shot's nice for this build, even without the playing Barrage all the time, just because returning projectiles makes the projectiles go very far. So honestly, this is probably really good for Locust Mine. Focal Point would be the Ascendancy I'd use outside of this if I didn't take Endless Munitions, or if I decided between only one of these and had another Ascendancy, it would be Focal Point, but whatever. And Wind Ward's actually really nice too for defense, so I guess there's lots of options really. The only ones you don't want to do are Rupturing Occupying Force. But I went with this setup. I would say the order of getting stuff would be Ricochet, Far Shot, then Gathering Winds, then Endless Munitions. I think that would be a good setup. Or alternatively, you could do the mess I did and spend 10 points to respec from Endless Munitions to Far Shot when you get to single target bosses. Now, gem stuff. Minefield, is very good, but you need Mind Throwing Speed to make this feel comfy, and Charge Mines are where it's at for that. And Mind Throwing Speed is also nice, and I'm going to anoint Destructive Apparatus once I get a Silver Oil, and the other ones, I guess. That would also be nice. Mind Throwing Speed, in other words. You need Mind Throwing Speed for Minefield to feel good. Otherwise, just go like Swift Assembly, or, you know, honestly, just any damage support is fine. Orc actually would probably be good too, just to throw more projectiles everywhere. I don't know what blue gem you'd use, like added lightning maybe, but honestly, just, you know, make it 2 blue afterwards when you get charge mines. Barrage for single target's really good. And Returning Arrow, I would swap Barrage with Returning Arrow when you're doing single target stuff. So like that, you know, easy. Returning Projectiles is great for clear, Barrage is great for bossing. And Returning Arrow is better for clearing because Ricochet chains everything, makes them come back. And just in Returning Projectiles, again, pierces everything, so it just hits so many targets when you do that. Machina Mitts is, I'd say, pretty good. I would like another power charge with it. The downside is that life and res gear becomes tougher with this. You lose, you know, a rare glove that you can get life and res on. So Machina Mitts, I wouldn't say required, but is likely pretty good. I can see why it's only 10C. It's not an essential to the build. Leech is nice though. So my defenses overall, I'm basing it on evasion and spell suppression. I am spell suppress capped, which is nice. I think I am at least. Yes. We're spell suppress capped. Scatterbots do some chills, so that's some nice mitigation there. Crit, and I freeze a lot with crits. I do crit a lot. Steel Skin on left click, I'll go into that in a second. And Defiance Banner, or some, whatever it does. Nearby enemies have reduced crit chance, and you get some armor and evasion. So crit avoidance is nice there. I do Steel Skin on left click because Molten Shell doesn't, casting damage taken doesn't synergize well with the other, with Steel Skin. And Molten Shell doesn't really work on this build because no Determination or Armor. Immortal Call doesn't really work well on this build because no Endurance charges, though I could probably get an Endurance Charge Generation Ring. But that's just later down the line if I decide to do that. If I could generate Endurance Charges, I do see WDT plus Immortal Call. That would make sense. For now, it's just left click on Steel Skin and detonating mines with a separate button, which I usually do anyways. This does mean that you are detonating mines on not left click if you play like I do, and not everybody like, a lot of people don't like that, so caveat emptor. The defenses are not ideal. It's definitely a softcore build, but it's not a cast on death portal build either. Like I go most maps without dying. The trick being just dodge stuff, don't get hit, hashtag. So, Mana Sustain. Elrion fixes Mana Sustain quite well. I'll jump these gems to higher minus mana costs once I get the 6th link, I'd say. Elrion plus Clarity fixes mana just fine. Until you get the Elrion jewelry, the minus mana cost jewelry that is, Enduring Mana Flask, just suffer through that. And if you really can't sustain your Mana Flask, Replenishing Remedies, Mana Flask charge gain, all that good stuff. Pantheons, I'm using Soul of Slotha because I like sustained flash charges. Though I guess you could do Ralakesh or Garakon if you don't like those. Brian King for freeze immune. I also did the Enduring Flask for freeze immune as well, which is nice. And eventually I'll do Pirate Treasure for reduced chill effect, which is also really nice. I'm up. Yeah, I'm not up to getting the Pirate Treasure just yet. The Ranger's right. So, mana has been pretty fixed with, and minus mana cost reduction means I can do the Mana Forged Arrow setup quite well, and I think I'll be able to do Ascendancy, and all my other skills are pretty much free, except for Blink Arrow, amusingly enough. That's like 10 mana, but it regenerates immediately, so that's fine. So yeah, mana, so Clarity plus minus mana cost totally fixes it. Damage, very much an attack build, and what I mean by that is that getting weapon upgrades really helps. I went from a 1C bow to like a 30-ish C bow, and that really helped. The DPS on it was 900 for what it's worth. So like C doesn't matter. And elemental DPS only 500, but again, Fizz doesn't matter because Burning Arrow converts all of its Fizz to elemental anyway, so it's totally fine. The additional arrow, funnily enough, is useless until I get another additional arrow. So this had a higher DPS, but then I put Mind Throwing Speed on it, so what you're looking for with a bow upgrade specifically is not necessarily DPS, but high flat damage, and if you find a bow with more damage, but slower attack speed, it might have lower DPS on the search feature, so keep that in check. It's a little annoying, but you can search for flat damage on pathofexile.com/trade instead of elemental DPS. You just want flat damage, and the higher flat damage, the better. Remember, attack speed barely counts. It only matters for your Blink Arrow skill, basically. And you do want an open suffix for Mind Throwing Speed, arguably, though you don't really need it. It's just nice. It's convenient. Honestly, you could probably just get away with accuracy and crit instead of that. And additional arrows, nice, I guess. But yeah, you want just damage on your bow, elemental preferably. No chaos, no plus bow gems. Added projectile is not really that important. So, because of the because you need to just invest in so many extra proj for it to get extra proj. So, yeah, an attack build. Better damage bows equal better quality of life. You don't need to level. It's not skill gem based. It's weapon damage based. So, making Locust Mines hit is the other big thing, which is why odd number arrows are better. This is the same with Explosive Arrow, where if you're hitting like this, which I can currently do with only 2 projectiles, you can see very clearly that they're kind of going around me rather than converging in the center, and that means they hit less. So you either get even number projectiles, or you do Barrage and Far Shot, and lo and behold, now they're all going in the center of me. Very important. Very important for single target, at least. Now, it doesn't matter in packs as much, because you just chain hits everything, and it's great. And then returning projectiles hits everything again, and it pierces everything when it does that, so that's great. The one thing is, you do want to be... Generally, the basic strat is that you are between the mines and the enemies, so you basically... And it's kind of like you drag the arrows to the enemies in some ways. That's how I view it, because when the mines detonate, they detonate in sequence. So you can actually move and shoot, in a sense, while you're detonating the mines. You don't actually have to stand still to pop and stop, which is kind of a unique feature of Locust Mines. It moves with you, which is kind of a neat little machine gun effect. You can kind of strafe with this build. It's neat. If the mines are too close to detonate, like I put them right here, notice they're not going off, just move. It's fine. You'll be moving anyways. Just move in a way that they're away from you. It's not as hard as it sounds. It's really pretty easy just to get the mines moving. It's fine. At least when I played. The edge case for that is like the research encounter and the tight corners in that area and Jun missions. Like it's very rare that you come across an area that's so tight cornered that you can't be away from your mines. I think, and even then it's fine. It's like there are very few tight corner situations where the 30 radius actually kicks in an annoying way. Val Burning Arrow is pointless for what it's worth, even though I have it. The AoE practically always misses. It'll throw all 3 valves at once. Like each mine is one of the Val consumes. So it's basically like one shot of it, and it'll miss, even with returning projectiles makes it miss. Barrage will probably make it go through you and miss. Val Burning Arrow is not going to be as good as a 21, 23 gem if you have the choice. So let's talk about gold. That's the build as it stands, and this is the tree as it stands and all that. So gearing goals. 6 links first. I'm going to want 6 links. My 6th length will be... well, a 5th link preferably for Mana Forge, and I'm going to try playing around with Trinity on both Mana Forge arrows and the mine setup. The reason I want it on both is because you can't... I'm pretty sure you can't proc Trinity with mines, because if you read the skill, it says hits with support skill for high damage cause you to gain resonance, but you is going to refer to the mines. So the mines are going to gain resonance, but not you necessarily. Like you need the resonance buff, but the hits will probably not. I haven't actually directly tested this, but I'm like 90% sure.
I'm not up to that just yet.
Yeah, support skills with reservation. I've just been pointing out that you can't support skills with reservation. Oh, well, it doesn't work with mines then. Or traps or totems. Okay. Fuck Trinity then. I was going to say if Trinity doesn't work out, I'm just going to use Wed. Just elemental damage with attacks. Bye-bye, Trinity. You served your purpose to demonstrate that I'm a dum-dum. For the link for Mana Forge, it's just going to be Power Charge on crit. So, just more easier access to power charges, why not? Rip Trinity. Alright, that's okay. So, yeah, if Trinity doesn't work out, which it immediately doesn't, you know, just standard damage node, probably elemental damage with attacks. Next up after the 6 link stuff, just higher damage bows. Like 30 C bow, I can easily scale up from there and get even more damage. Like the damage reduction of like Locust Mine is ridiculously low. 12% less damage, 11% at level 20 versus the Blast Chain Mine I think has like a 50% damage reduction at level level 20 or so, maybe 40. So this is essentially 5 times as much damage as using like Blast Chain Mine or something. Essentially. Downside being hitting enemies and stuff, but still. Let's see. And targeting and stuff, but yeah. So 6 links, better those are the first ones. Ascendancy Mark is probably going to be after that. And then putting some orbs on it. Sniper's Mark, Tornado, Hydrosphere, and I don't know, Frost Bomb. Or it could do Power Charge and crit, but honestly, Mana Forge will do that for me. I might even be able to substitute out Mana Forge if I do that. But I do like Ensnaring Arrow. It's because I get Frenzy and Power Charges anyways with Charge Mines. But I will lose Ensnaring Arrow and Easy Mark on Hit Sniper Mark setup. Either way, Ascendancy Mark will be Tornado, Hydrosphere, Frost Bomb at the very least. And if I do put on Ascendancy Mark, I will have to invest in more spell suppression, because Ascendancy Mark does not innately have evasion rating, so this evasion mastery of the free plus 15% spell suppress, not gonna work. Need more spell suppress. And since this is essentially a bow build, the standard bow upgrade stuff, Thread of Hope here with a large radius, I want to say large, which will spin around and grab me like King of the Hill, Master Fletcher, Perfectionist, Primeval 4. Like, it basically cuts out a lot of pathing and free nodes. Multi-shot, so I get extra arrow shots, and I said that these are harder to scale, but Thread of Hope makes it so you only have to spend one passive instead of the path with a bunch of dead nodes to them, so yeah. Thread of Hope would be nice. Lionized Fall up here, which gives you the dagger and claw nodes as crit. Though I tested this on PoE, and that is a lot of investment, even with Lionized Fall. Like, I'd have to be higher level to really to fit these into the tree, or just get a better bow with accuracy or something. Alt quality gem upgrades are not actually really a big priority for me. Divergent Locust Mine sounds really good. It throws an additional mine, but I throw 7 out, so like it's an 8th mine, essentially. Every volley, and it doesn't actually increase your cap. And the current quality of Locust Mine is extra mine throwing speed. I believe it's 0.5% mine throwing speed every quality. And 10% mine throwing speed is nothing to scoff at. Anomalous is actually not bad either. I forgot what it does. I didn't write it down. It was like, oh, it was extra detonation speed, which is actually really good too, because Barrage actually takes a while to detonate. Like, it kind of takes a little bit to detonate Barrage for some reason, but normal returning projectiles doesn't slow it down. So maybe Anomalous, maybe Divergent, but honestly base quality is just fine too. I don't think they're huge upgrades compared to the other former stuff mentioned. So let's talk about pros to the build. So far that I found, like, it does like way more damage than other skills would with the same or other mine skills with the same skill. So like, it's just way better for like burning. If you're doing burning arrow mines with anything else, just do Locust mines. It's essentially like 4 or 5 times as much damage per hit. It bypasses slow attack speeds of slow arrow skills, like say Burning Arrow, which has a 70% attack speed, which is why I'm going Burning Arrow, because high damage, low attack speed, don't care about attack speed. It just hits everything in packed areas, just like freaking everything. Like, this is just the normal version, and imagine this with chain and returning projectiles, and you just got a wonderful, just like screen hitting, multi-screen hitting thing. Which bows are usually good at anyways, but you know, for the investment it's not bad. The single target, despite having a miserable infinite hunger fight, with scaling the bow and doing the right hitting, it seems promising. Like, the Black Star fight went really well. And if this was being made by somebody who was actually a better build guide builder, this is probably going to be an OP support. My version is very messy and on the fly. And let's lead to the cons of the current build. First off, mines. Mines are not for everybody. Mines are kind of jank. And you either have to left click on to activate them, and that's kind of nice, or you have to press buttons. It's multi-buttons. So yeah, mines, they're jank. It is an attack build too, so it needs a weapon. It's not like spell mines where you can just like scale the spell gem. The extra proj stuff is tricky. You have the thresholds that I was talking about earlier in this little diary here. So, like, scaling extra proj is harder than average extra proj scaling. The defense in my build is very much softcore, and it's going to be tricky to get, like, fitting armor in this build, for instance. You need to... Viz mitigation is going to be, like, rough to figure out. You could probably go Lightning Coil if you can afford it, and suffer the lightning res dip, etc., etc. Mana cost jewelry is needed, so you would need a mana flask until then, and that feels gross having a mana flask instead of utility flask, as always. And probably the one everybody was concerned with, projectiles. So, oh yeah, because it's projectiles, it's really hard to focus target, say, an invulnerability aura enemy in the middle of a pack. So, like, which is, you know, a very niche situation, you could say, but, like, that's been the most annoying damn thing in the game for me right now with Locust Mines. Like, if there's an invulnerability pack and I want to, and I don't have Pierce initially, this pesky invuln aura enemies that are guarded by packs is a little annoying. And the bigger one that you need to position for damage, like, you kind of need to aim with this. Not as much as you'd think, because the mines hit everywhere. But for single target, you might need to aim. And it's actually not as hard as you think, because, again, you can move with the mines to reposition yourself. But you will need to reposition for aim and for single target damage. Oh yeah, and in case it wasn't obvious, this is kind of a visual mess, so like if you're doing fights where you need to stand out of the ground or something a little much, Maybe consider turning off the Burning Arrow MTX. I think it's actually more visually clear without it. Maybe not. Weird. Okay, well, whatever. Either way, it's kind of a visual mess. I mean, it's projectile spam, go figure. So, final side notes things. Half the building hasn't updated yet, at least when I last checked. So it's hard to really get actual damage calcs on this build. So I'm sorry about that. Tornado Shot or some wands will probably end up being Locust Mine's meta, because Tornado Shot just has a lot better hit rate. It just does less damage, arguably. So like with better gear, I think Tornado Shot will be better. And I'm sure, and they demonstrated wands. I could bet wands are like the better mapper or something. I don't know. Haven't messed with wands with this build. Yeah, I'm not up to wands just yet. Do not do Burning Arrow first. Use Lightning Arrow until you get returning projectiles and our friend Ricochet. Because you won't have screen coverage without that. You won't have Minefield until Act 6 anyways. So like, do Lightning Arrow at the start for screen coverage. It'll do enough damage. It's Locust Mines. And last thing, this is a build diary and not a build guide, so take my like thoughts with a huge grain of salt, maybe a salt cube, frankly. And this is just kind of messing around and experimenting with a new build. So I'm honestly pleased with how far it's gotten, because frankly builds I come up with are really miserable most of the time. And this is not one of those, so yeah, pretty broken. Like, if I can come up with something good with this, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a broken skill if you can handle the jank. Alright, build diary over.